Hey everyone, Reflexive Moon here. It's been a little while. I missed a couple of cycles. I was away, but feeling good and having had a break was really what I needed. So happy to be here, back doing readings, back at home. Today the moon is in its what is it? It's the last quarter, right? The last quarter in Pisces in sidereal, I believe it's Aquarius for tropical. And today is also, well, this is early, right now it's early in July. So in the United States and Canada, today we're having Canada Day, and Independence Day is coming up as well on the 4th. I just wanted to acknowledge the stolen land that these colonial countries reside on. I identify as Indigenous, and I think it's really important to state my business and where I sit politically. I realize that it's not always the most YouTube friendly thing to do, but this friendly native just wants to do a shout out to all of my Indigenous and Afro-Indigenous relatives. Today I'm using, I know it seems a little bit ridiculous, but I'm just using an orange tablecloth. I don't have an orange shirt, so for all you orange shirt folks who are in the know with Orange Shirt Day and the residential school system and the recent uncovering of hidden graves of children, mass graves of children from schools that they were taken from their homes to go and forced to go to. I think it's really important that, these issues are made aware of. Today, I'm actually going to be using my nice little revolutionary deck of the Next World Tarot. I'm also going to pull some cards from this Feminist Oracles deck just to critique it a little bit. It has some great personalities. I feel like there is a little, there could be a better ratio of racialized bodies versus white bodies. It would be nice if the racialized bodies actually were the majority. And also, I feel like if you're going to have a feminist oracle deck that is relatively, that's been published, 2020, like, why are you missing Kimberly Crenshaw? How can you have like amazing women like Lizzo and Roxane Gay and not Kimberly Crenshaw, who literally coined the term intersectionality, which is so relevant to the intersectional feminist movement? Hey now, let's think about the next deck, maybe include her. So with that being said, this great little deck with some iconic women could also use some trans women as well. And more trans women, gender fluid folks. We have Donna Strickland. And Donna, the little, I guess, like, coin term would be know what you're good at and stick with it. It all comes down to the atoms and pace yourself for the long run. That totally applies. We got some serious truth and reconciliation items that need to be taken up, and it certainly is not going to happen overnight. What does Donna have to say? Donna Strickland. I'm like sort of vaguely remembering who this is, but not enough. Okay, so Canadian, 1959. Nobel Prize winning physicist who invented chirped pulse amplification with her supervisor, Gerard Mourou. Gerard Mourou. She's only the third woman to have received the Nobel Prize in Physics, and in its 118th year in history. She also holds the highest civilian honor in her home country, Companion of the Order of Canada, KK Canada, KKK Canada. Oh yeah, so speaking of Canada, KKK Canada, this deck really also needs Buffy Sainte-Marie or any other famous indigenous woman who have like broken trail and blazed their way. Just saying. Optical physician, Strickland, as an optical physician, Strickland focuses on research into pioneering the new uses for lasers, and her work has enabled millions of people all over the world to have corrective laser eye surgery. Yeah, well, that's pretty dope. So we have a fabulous scientist here that we have pulled, and I love science. I am like an astronomy geek a bit, and sorry, I got a little bit of sun, so I'm kind of itchy. Yeah, I love indigenous astronomy. I love staring up at the sky. I like to geek out on lunar phases, and as you know, it's pretty obvious, I think. Right now, we're gonna try and get through a 10 card spread, Celtic Cross. That's what I learned first. It also kind of is relevant to my Celtic roots. I do have quite a bit of Scottish going on. And we'll just do a general read for everybody with this fabulous revolutionary deck. I don't know. The archetype that we pulled was a scientist. So all the brainers out there, what do we got here? 3 of Swords as a first card that flipped out. Yeah. 3 of Swords fits right now. We're celebrating these so-called Independence Days, Confederation we call it here in Canada, and it's all a lie. It is on the blood of my ancestors, blood of Indigenous peoples, also folks who made it here in the transatlantic slave trade, their blood, sweat, relatives as well. So it's kind of heavy. But also, like, on an individual level, this is, being stabbed in the back, blinded as well. Blindly stabbed in the back. Stabbed through the heart. Like, it's pain. It's very painful. And maybe you've been through, maybe this time for you, you are finding out who your friends really are. And also painfully who your friends are not. And it can be this is a lonely card. It's very sorrowful. Like, it just speaks to a heavy, heavy heart. And that seems to be your concern, is maybe you're in the thick of having a heavy heart. Maybe you're just getting over having a heavy heart, or maybe this is a sign that, maybe this is something that you need to try your best to avoid happening because of whatever situation that you're in right now. And crossing that, we have the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles on the plus side is very, what's the word? Like, industrious. Maybe not not crazy amounts of money this person has, but they work. They like to work. They also can be a hustler. Like, if it's, if there's a twist to it, like, are you getting hustled by somebody, or are you hustling someone, and is it going to come back on you? Or is this person just getting at you in a way that involves other people and betrayal and how much do you have invested in this person? Like, are they draining your resources? Are you invested in them financially? Are you investing together financially? And it sounds like this person is someone that you shouldn't invest financially with because they are not being truthful with you. And you know, like you're the boss of yourself, right? And they're the boss of themselves, and everybody makes their own choices. And it's terrible to interfere with somebody's well-being by omitting the truth. I also think that it's important to be responsible and to make sure that you have all of your bases covered to make sure that that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I also have a lot of trust issues, but let's not spread that. Okay, so what do we got here? The Four of Cups. I love this card. Okay. Also, like, getting back to this Page of Pentacles, like, this page is an artist and they are an artisan. They could just be trying to survive and get through their hustle, and how you cross paths with that person. Or maybe this is you. This is what you're trying to get through. And yeah, this is what might get you through it, is the fact that you're industrious, that you're focused, that you have a craft and a skill, and you're able to survive. And it's really good. And I love this Four of Cups. It kind of came out a little bit reversed, but this deck doesn't really do reversals that much in the readings. The Four of Cups is a time of reflection. It could also mean that you're a little bit indifferent and cold, but what I love about this person in this card is that it's almost like they're coping. It's what they're doing to cope through a situation, and that's sort of like the overlying theme. And you know, it could be that you are, I mean, we're in a pandemic, we're just coming out, like, you've been isolated and isolating, and just doing self-care, trying to get through your days, you know, maybe painting your own nails, like chilling in your house coat and slippers all day, and just like putting your heart, like, in a place where it's kind of cold, like where it seems a little bit indifferent, but also for survival, like just cutting yourself off so you're not drowning in your sorrows. And yeah, because it's important that we pulled the Three of Swords. The theme is sorrow, and definitely, I had this really crazy dream last night, and I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but it was like this very, like, apocalyptic type of dream. But there was also this sort of, like, it led to this, you know, post-apocalyptic utopia where, you know, just living and making do with what everybody had, and you know, creating a great, just having it be for the future, this whole situation, like this new world basically that I dreamt of. And there was, you know, like, people were making art out of all the stained glass windows, like shattered stained glass windows from churches, and just making a new school that was actually centered in science and observation. Like, there was an observatory, and it was just really cool. So I don't know if it was just from watching too many movies and having so much going on, but I really had this great dream, and I feel like it's really sort of relevant to this these cards that I'm pulling here for you all now. And we have Justice in your position of subconscious, and Justice is ruled by Venus and Libra as well, so very airy, using your mind to say what needs to be said, to do what needs to be done, and to sort of protest and be proud and loud, right? And this is like a pride card here, this justice card. But this also speaks to any kind of pride. As people who experience oppression and marginalization, people who are racialized, anybody who's othered in any type of way. So justice within yourself, coming to terms with yourself. And then we have temperance in reverse. So emotions, maybe emotionally stagnant. You've come from a place of being emotionally stagnant. And moving forward, you need to reverse that back to its original position, which is totally what temperance is all about, right? Just that whole movement. And sometimes the movement means coming from a still place to a place of movement. Suspension. This is the hanged person, the hanged one. And I love this card. It just speaks to how lucky we can be to be given a different perspective, to have that opportunity for a different perspective, even though it's like a scary hanging kind of place, like a roller coaster where you're being held upside down for a couple seconds. It's not natural. But yeah, the new perspective, and that could be so it's ruled by Pisces and Neptune, which is like the element of water. Neptune was the god of the ocean, the waters. So, a new perspective emotionally, and also maybe it's a new perspective on how your relationship with water, having access, what that means, being grateful for it. Also, there's a lot of folks out there that don't have access, who are consuming water that is poisoned with lead or mercury. And I think that it's important to be aware and speak out about those things. This came up reversed as well. Maybe you need to do some research on, the realities that folks are faced with. And it's not just doing the research, it's just like coming to terms with the messages that are out there, with the realities that people are faced with that are out there, right? Like it's like that reflexive piece where, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to ignore it and pretend that you just stay the same and go on with your life in a state of complacency? Or are you going to speak on it? Are you going to, disrupt other folks that are behaving in a complacent way? Or are you going to look into ways in which you can be active, donating money, tweeting or talking about it, sharing messages? It's really important to stay active to a certain degree, I really think that's my little anti-oppressive rant. And so we have the Eight of Cups in reverse as your attitude. So I really think that this is probably important. I know that sounds very fake. But given that the first card was the Three of Swords, which does deal with, the painstaking emotions that come from like mental anguish. Not acknowledging that. So just like going for a ride through the clouds, taking off. The Eight of Cups is like a little bit about abandonment, walking away. And Saturn in Pisces. So when I think of Saturn in Pisces, because Saturn is the god of agriculture, so not really watering your garden, your spiritual garden. I think that could be the attitude and perspective that you need to change, because we have two Pisces cards here. And truly watering your spiritual garden. Now, like, there's people out there that claim to be spiritual and they just fucking judge other people on how spiritual they are, or, you know, how they navigate through, you know, their coping mechanisms. And it's so counter to what spirituality actually is, you know. Acceptance and compassion, empathy, those are all spiritual states of mind and like emotional being. Kindness, just any type of virtuous behavior that is sort of guides you through being not a good person. Like, I don't want to bring merit into the equation. I don't think that that's what it is. It's just being like finding serenity and being at peace and being free from the bondage of self, free from narcissistic attacks from others, and just standing your ground and being strong in who you are. And this person, you know, needs to come back down to earth. It's time. Because you don't want to fall upside down. You don't want to fall into the upside down. Like, this is not some Stranger Things shit. This is the real world. And the upside down is like really scary. This is the kind of upside down that's okay. Like, we're lucky. This is the good upside down. This is the upside down that you can come back and turn around out of, you know? And I learned about this, you know, like horse medicine. Like, this just makes me think of, because horses are very therapeutic. I mean, there's a privilege to having horses. You have to have access to money or to people who have horses, or folks who do that type of work. But I really think that, you know, when I think of these four-leggeds, right, these hooved ones, there's just this business of four-leggeds and being grounding. It's real. Unless if you have a legit fear of animals, or you think that they're disgusting, like, this just speaks to something where you can find grounding. And maybe it is through animals. I just stayed on a farm for a little while, and, you know, chilled with a horse and some roosters and some goats, and, you know, there's a lot of little hoofed creatures wandering around, and it was dope. I loved it. It was definitely grounding just to be around that. And yeah, maybe that's something that you can do as well. Figure out, take what you need from that. And the number 12 is sort of standing out for me as well right now. If 12 has any significance to you, maybe go take 12 days off in 12 days from now, maybe midnight or noon. That's like a significant time. Sorry, I'm dropping cards. One sec. Oof. Okay. The High Priestess, outside influence. Who is the High Priestess in your life? Who is this grounded being who has knowledge of medicines, knowledge of ritual, knowledge of the planets and how they influence our bodies, how to tell time, to calendar, and also, the sacred fruits that nourish us, that govern our bodies, that help us to govern our own bodies and fix them. So I myself have been considering investing in a good juicer. So maybe that might be something that you are interested in doing as well. And yeah, and like, so when I think of like these candles sort of make me think of the rituals, and maybe that is what you need to go back to, or you need to seek, given this attitude that you have. And there's somebody out there for you that can guide you in that way. For sure. And it doesn't have to be a woman. Like that sort of high priestess, sacred high priestess energy. That could be some type of mentor that you have, masculine or feminine. But I think most importantly that this person honors their femininity and honors the femininity of others, does not subscribe to toxic masculinity, and honors the sacred feminine within everyone. I think that's really important to make sure that you are careful, especially for my fellow female identified folks. There's too many people out there who claim to be mentors, and they just end up taking advantage, and it's unfortunate. And ooh, look at this. Hopes and fears. We have strength. Strength. So this card is ruled by the sun and Leo. Very fiery energy. It is the strength and courage to foster growth within yourself. Foster growth externally as well, bringing that internal growth and making it external, cultivating your growth and strength. And, making work accessible for yourself, having what you need, that sort of pillar that you need to stand on in order to stay comfortable. What else? And just being who you are in your natural state, while also nurturing, nurturing it. And like usually the strength that has a lion in it's about taming the beast within. And so maybe taming the beast within has to do with being nurturing, right? Getting in touch with that nurturing side of yourself. And here we got some fabulous trees. Maybe that's what you need. That's your coping skill right there. Your coping mechanism, I should say. And it's okay. And here we go, our final moment, which is totally connected to our original, right? We got the Suit of Swords here coming through as a queen. Now this queen can be kind of cold. The double-edged sword, this queen is usually like Athena type of energy, right? So the ability to be sound and just can also be like the truth hurts a little bit, Truth hurts like Lizzo. I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when crying crazy. Crying crazy. Alright. Crying crazy. 100% that bitch. That's you. So, that's it for now. Yeah, you know, be that Renaissance person that you are. Master your mind and your heart. And because you have like this knowledge, right? This queen is centered in knowledge. You know, the mind. And part of that is also emotional intelligence, right? So, what do you do when people are backstabbing you? You get over it. You process it. You do what you need to process it. You cut your heart off for a little while if you have to. But then you figure out a way to turn your emotions back on through different perspective. Coming back down to earth. You may not want to, but you know this is what you have to do. Come back down to earth. And this is a good time. Like, we just come out of a Mercury retrograde. Like, communication is getting a little bit better. There are some other retrogrades happening. I'm not like 100% down with all the astrological influences of the planets, but you know, find somebody that is. Maybe you need to seek a good astrologer. Get your chart done. I know like Vedic astrology is really great for predictions. More so than tropical. Tropical is good for like doing personality assessments or profiles. And so you could do both. You could invest in a good app, or you could support your local astrologer. And either way, you're good, you know? Find the strength within yourself to keep carrying on. Carry on. And yeah, you're the queen. You are royalty. You have, you have the knowledge, you have the skills to get over this place of sorrow. You know, there's a lot of sadness that we have to get over. There's a lot of sadness going on in the world. There's a lot of people that we lost. So much hidden. You know, poverty still exists, right? I don't know. Like, how do you deal? How do we deal with that? How do we come together as queens and deal with that? But we can. Climate change is something that I really think that we should be focusing on. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but there is such a haze everywhere. I don't remember that smoggy haze when I was a kid, and I'm not that old, you know? Turn off your air conditioner for a little while. If it's not that hot, ride your bike. Don't use your vehicle. It's difficult, especially when we have these crazy heat waves that literally kill people. Turn your lights off, you know? Stuff like that. It's just simple things. Don't buy too much bottled water. And if you do, reuse those bottles as much as you can. And get active on how you can, make some differences with energy efficient machines and buying your own filtered water or donating money to organizations that try to help bring people clean water and just basic things, There's countries that need that right now. They need those sort of like remittance items, things that are sent to them because they are not being produced where they are. So look into that. Maybe if I get the time, I can find some links and put them in this video, and we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, thank you. I appreciate you spending this time with me. And if you have any suggestions, I'd really like that. If you want me to play any music or sing some more for you, anything like that, just let me know. All right, take care.